the Lamont Davis and Lamont Roach and Davis fight. Hell of a fight. Okay, we were not expecting that from Lamont Roach, and I uh, the first few rounds, Tank should have pressed his advantage because Lamont Roach at the beginning was tentative, um, and I think he slept on that. He should have been more aggressive at the beginning. Um, and Tank had Lamont Roach with less confidence at the beginning of the fight, um, and Lamont Roach was a little bit more defensive than I'd be honest with you. I think he was a little scared at the beginning, but as the fight wore on, he caught more confidence, and I don't think Davis was pressing his advantage, or I didn't see Tank with a sense of urgency at the beginning, and that hurt him. Um, See, this is the thing when you're a gifted fighter like that, and you have such an advantage, you don't want to make it a long fight. If you knock him out in the first round, so let it be. You know. So I think fighters try. I've seen a lot of times fighters try to milk the fight. Now that's not taken away from Lamont Roach, but at the beginning, Tank did. You could see that Tank had an advantage. It was obvious that he had an advantage. Um, so as far as confidence goes and speed and stuff, I think Tank should have jumped him. Okay, so when he was full strength at the beginning, there was a moment when Tank looked like he had hurt a hand a little bit with a punch. It didn't. It didn't last. He came back, and then there was that weird thing that happened where Tank took a knee. He took a knee. That's what I didn't see that. I have to see the fight again, but Tank took a knee. And I think what happened, it wasn't a punch. I think what happened is when he moved his head, one of those, um, he had his hair rolled up like that on the side, and I think he had beads on it. And I think one of those beads hit him in his eye when like a whip. So I think he got, nervous, like, shit, what the hell was that? And he took a knee, and he went to his corner and say, hey, wipe something. That's what you saw him wipe something. Calvin Ford um, wipes his face. So I think that's what happened. I mean, first of all, when you're going to fight, you don't wear uh, any hair that stranded hair like that on rolled up like that, let alone with a bead that can actually reach your eye. That's dangerous. So the commission should have said, hey, you can't do that. You can't wear that. And himself, he knows his body. He knows himself. So he shouldn't have worn that like that. And after that happened, we saw him become kind of uh, uh, not careless. He he looked like he was desperate to get a knockout, but when you're using a full strength um, in your punches and putting all the sauce on them, you tend to telegraph them. So Lamont Roach was already waiting for the punches. When you put all your power into them, you kind of telegraph. So the fight changed after that. I got to see the scoring. That round, I still think he won that round when he took the knee. Um, but that hurt him because if you win the round that but you took a point off, it's still a 9-9 round. So, you know, actually, I mean, if it's actually a 10-8 round, but it could have been a 9-8 because he won the round. I gotta look at that. I gotta look at that. Um, but once Lamont Roach got his confidence back, where he could see, hey, I can, the fastest part and the strongest part of Tank is out of the ring because he's apprehensive. Me personally, after that round, I would have told the coach, cut that shit off. Cut the strands of hair, the braids on the side. He should have braided it all the way to the back. So that wouldn't be, like a whip. I would have cut it. I would have told my corner, cut that shit off. Just to protect myself so I could go full power. I don't care. I'll grow it back. Screw the hair. But it was a close fight. It was a hell of a fight. Actually, I think that's the best fight anybody has fought against Tank. Um, he was well prepared, Lamont Roach, and I think Tank was well prepared too. I just think he got nervous. He tried too hard, and I don't think he was scared to get hurt by Roach. Tank's got a hell of a chin. At one time, Roach touched him off balance, and that's when you saw him stumble a little because he was off balance. He wasn't hurt; he was off balance. But and then Roach did. He fought the second. Well, I want to say the last third of that fight. The last 4 rounds, he fought a hell of a fight. Very, very savvy boxing. Um, and it punches in between punches, throwing punches in between punches. I mean, you want to study how to fight a gifted fighter like Tank Davis. You got to study the last third of that fight. You have to study the last 4 rounds of that. If you're into boxing and if you're one of you're an up and coming boxer, and you want to study how to fight a really dangerous hard puncher with speed and super talented fighter, you have to study this fight and how to fight a southpaw, a fast, powerful, extremely talented, and extremely well trained southpaw like Tank Davis. You're an orthodox, you're righty, and you want to learn how to fight. You have to study the last third of this fight. So on how this is pure boxing. Um, so it's what the game of boxing is. Uh, Punching in between punches and being defensively responsible uh, while still being aggressive and scoring. You have to study the last third of this fight. I'm a boxing aficionado. Some people say I'm a connoisseur. But more you watch and I fought when I was younger. I was just in the street with my friends and my cousins and stuff. And people say when I fight, I mean I'm 225. I'm an old dude, but I still get punches in between punches. Whenever I haven't sparred in a long time, I want to get back into it because I want to get into the Masters. Before that's one of my bucket list. I messed up my right hand again, but it's healing better. So I went to the doctor. He said he wanted to, it's like you shouldn't operate, just wear really good. So when I fight, I the inside because I'm fat, I'm old, and I got slow. But I do stuff that makes it difficult for guys to fight me, and I get them to do stuff. I'll take punches just to get into position. but you have to know how to do it. That's what Lamont Roach did. Um, and actually, he worked the body um, really good with Tank, and that paid dividends because it slowed Tank down. It didn't hurt him, but it hurt him a couple of times, not bad, but it made him go into defensive mode, and it slowed down his offense enough for Lamont Roach to, because once you hurt somebody to the body, it changes how they think. And it wasn't really hurt, but Lamont touched them to the body enough, touched Tank and to the body enough to make Tank think twice uh, before delivering. And when you can't block and punch at the same time. So even if you're punching with one hand, the other is blocking. So you can't deliver the combinations. Once you touch somebody to the body enough, it makes him think twice. I think it was a hell of a fight. If you're into boxing and if you're planning on boxing, even if it's just for fun, an old fat guy like me, and you're gonna get in, mess around. And I had a kid I that I fought with, Marine, 6'6" Marine kid, young cat, 22 years old. Um, he could move, he could, punch and everything. But every time we got into it, we I use what Lamont Roach did, not at that level, obviously, but there are things that you do on the inside um, when you're with a guy, and you make him drop his hands enough by touching his body that you create openings, and that's what Lamont Roach did tonight masterfully. He should be really proud of his accomplishment or of his performance. Um, and so should Tank. Both of them. Now Tank still, like, people saying, "Oh, is he going to retire?" He ain't going to retire, man. He's not going to retire. And especially, that's what I'm saying. People sometimes in boxers' careers, they get bored because they dominate. And it's not saying he wasn't trained. He was trained. He walked out of that ring like he's ready to go another 12 rounds. I'm talking about Tank. But now he's got. I bet you anything, he's got that fire back in him. And now people are going to make that mistake and think, "Oh, Tank's finished. Oh, Tank can be, dominated." Go ahead and make that mistake. Now he's going to come back with more fire. Now he's got motivation. He's a fighter. You see what happened in him, how he fought back like a lion. So I think we have not seen the best of Tank yet. I think, and people saying, "Oh, he needs to fight Shakur Stevenson." Listen to me. If Shakur Stevenson thinks he's going to do anything to Tank other than get knocked the fuck out, he's wrong. He's sorely mistaken. Shakur Stevenson's a boring fighter. Okay, he's a boring fighter that when he gets cracked, he starts running and grabbing. And if he thinks he's going to do that to Tank Davis, grab him and try to uh, neutralize Tank Davis, it's not going to happen. Tank Davis is going to go around him and knock him out. Um, people, think, it's going to be a boring fight. Even Tank says, you know what's going to happen? It's going to be a boring fight. I think if they make that fight, if Tank says, "Okay, I'll fight him," um, it's going to be, a rude awakening. You know, yes, Stevenson is fast. He puts punches together, but remember, in between those punches, he's vulnerable. And when he goes into his shell, Tank's going to hurt him. And if he thinks he's going to grab, remember, if you want to grab someone, you put yourself in at risk of getting uppercutted and angled, because you got to make a certain movement to grab, and right there you're vulnerable. People don't understand. Oh, just grab him. It's not like that. When you grab, you open up. For working right then. That's all Tank needs to knock you out. So kudos, congratulations to Lamont. Hell of a performance. And they have to. This, I think this is going to be one of those where the the rematch is going to be better than the first fight. And in the rematch, Lamont Roach is going to bring confidence from round one, and that's going to be his undoing. Because Tank is not going to fuck around in the second fight like he did in the first one. He was so feeling him out and stuff like that. He's going to go full pop from first round, and he's going to hurt him early. So I keep saying, a lot of fighters do that. It's like, let's just give the fans a fight. Fuck that shit. Don't. If you got the gift, use it. So bring the next fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. And Lomachenko, if obviously the 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 next fight, this brings Lamont Roach stock real high. So he's up there in that division as one of the big players. So I don't see Lomachenko fighting Lamont Roach next, but you never know. I would personally, if I'm Lomachenko, I would go for Tank right now, because his confidence is a little bruised, not too much, because he knows what happened. He's not it's not like he's all, oh my, I don't know if I can beat him and stuff. No, man, it's just, he knows what happened. He didn't press enough at the beginning when he had the advantage, and now yeah. If I'm Lomachenko, I will push for a fight. If I'm Lamont Roach team, I will put for a rematch. That's what people are going to want to see. But still, I still think Loma will do really good against. I don't know. Maybe Loma. They'll push Loma to fight Roach before. I don't know. What do you guys think? I I think Loma would clean Lamont Roach clock. Because Ukrainian boxing is another story. It's another style, man. It's a martial art in itself. Just like Cuban boxing, the practitioners of Cuban boxing are in a league of their own, as far as the ones who actually practice it and don't go into the American boxing style. American boxing's own style. So I don't know. One of those. I think that's the next fight that needs to be made. Lomachenko against Roach. Lomachenko against Stevenson. That would be boring with Stevenson's style, because I guess that's just I just pisses me off when guys do that. So hey, that division's hot. So let's see what happens. I'm voting for a rematch, and Lomachenko for a tune-up fight. That's something I want to say this. Lomachenko have a tune-up fight against Shakur Stevenson. People say, you're crazy calling a tune-up fight. That's a tune-up fight. you know, for Lomachenko. Stevenson is, Lomachenko makes professional boxers, so-called elite fighters, look fucking amateurish, even at this age. So hey, you never know. Lomachenko Stevenson, and then whoever wins that, go for the winner of Roach and the winner of Roach and Davis. So that would be interesting. That would actually sell. That would actually sell. I need to fucking start booking fights. Anyways, long leg boxing, man.